Hey guys, it's me. I'm back. Sorry it's been a while. Life been lifing, but prophetic words don't stop. So I wanted to get into a prophetic word that the Lord has given me, and I wanted to pretty much go into detail on what I've been getting. I've been getting a lot of prophetic downloads about these kingdom spouses, the prodigals, how they're feeling, and overall, excuse me, and overall pretty much on what's going on with them in general. Like, because things have been getting pretty, like, close to the end, if I can say that. Things are getting ready to come to pass soon. Things are getting ready to come to an end. So, yeah, let's get into the word. So, first thing I want to say is these kingdom spouses, they have been hovering over you. Like, your kingdom spouse has been hovering over you spiritually. Or quite literally, not quite literally, but like these kingdom spouses, they, during this time period, if this word is for you, your kingdom spouse have been, quote unquote, hovering over you spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Not physically, I apologize about that, but more so spiritually and emotionally. And this can show up in many different ways. You can feel that they're close spiritually. You can feel like they're right by you, like they're within your proximity, like they're near you some way, somehow, like they're hovering over you a little bit. Or it can show up in different ways with like your social media, like they're steady monitoring and they're like in a way hovering over your account. They're watching, they're steady monitoring and different things like that. Like they're keeping close tabs, they're trying to stay close by. So if this word is for you, your kingdom spouse, they've been hovering over you, like, and I hope that's the right word, but they've been hovering over. If you have a social media page, they've been hovering over your social media page and just watching for the last couple of days, cyber stalking, of course, and it's been something that's happening more than usual. Like, it's something that happened. It's been happening more than usual. It's been consistent and it's been persistent, meaning it's been steadily happening. It's not maybe something that happens every couple of days or every week or once a week. No, it's been going on for a couple of days, almost in the way of a light. These spouses are getting so close to the point where they want to make a decision, or they're trying to bring themselves to make a decision to come back, essentially. So, yeah. Next part I wanted to get into was your kingdom spouse. They have the perspective of where they feel like they need you in their life, and they're torn between the choices of wanting to be near you and not that they're leaning towards this idea, but the idea of letting you go. And what I mean by that is, it's evident that in situations like these, there's two choices. You either run to the person or you want to run away from them. And they are torn in pain at the fact that it seems like right now they're in a way running away from you, or they're not too nearby you like they would want to be. They're not as close to you as they would want to be. And right now they're having the perspective of realizing that they feel like they need you in their lives. And God is allowing them to come to this realization because essentially you do both need each other in a way. Not in a way of like where you're idolizing the person or you need them to live, but in a way of you need each other to be able to walk in the purpose that God both has for you in your lives. And that's essentially the conclusion that these spouses are coming to right now, is they're realizing they feel the void in their life when you're not there. You had the Spirit of God within you when you were there, and they were able to feel that, and now that it's gone, they're able to definitely like discern and know that it's missing. So yeah, next thing I wanted to get into was your kingdom spouse right now. They are being pushed up against the wall with this situation, meaning these kingdom spouses, they're getting pressured or pushed into a desperate position, a position that is getting very small and very much closed in. The point is, this situation is starting to close in on them. And what I mean by that is it's getting to a point where they're having limited options and they're under stress. And it's getting to the point where it's leaving them little to no choice but to either confront the issue directly or make a decision. So yeah, your kingdom spouse, they're up against the wall with this situation. They're feeling like their back is up against the wall with this situation, and that they feel distressed in a way to the point where the meter is getting closer to the end where they have to break and they have to go just confront the situation at this point. Like, there's no other thing that can happen, that it has to get confronted, because of course they're going to come to the conclusion that they can't keep living like this. And that goes into the next word that I want to get into. These kingdom spouses, your kingdom spouse especially, they right now, there's a possibility that your kingdom spouse could be having restless nights and having no peace. And that goes back into the part where they're realizing they can't live like this. They can't live in the distress. They can't live without you. They can't live in this just blatant rebellion against God anymore. And overall, it comes to a point where the reality is setting in and they can't get no sleep. They're having restless nights and they're not having no peace. And it says in God's word that, I'm paraphrasing, by the way, don't quote me, but pretty much I remember, of course, there was a verse talking about how, I don't want to say the wicked, because that's not what we're calling the spouses, but the point is, the ones who don't do God's will, they get no sleep, they get no peace, they don't sleep well. I hope you guys get what I'm referring to. I'm sorry, my mind is a little rusty, been a lot of spiritual warfare going on, but my point is, it's in God's word where essentially sometimes you won't be able to, not sometimes, most of the time, the people who are running away from God's will, they have restless nights and they are not able to get peace. So, yeah. Okay, so the next thing that I wanted to get into was the reunion between you and your kingdom spouse. So, your kingdom spouse, the reunion between you two will be smooth, intentional, and unexpected, meaning the reconciliation will happen easily with no problems, and it'll be planned intentionally by your kingdom spouse physically, but by God spiritually. Meaning God will be behind the scenes and stuff like that, but it'll appear as if your kingdom spouse came up with this idea when in reality it was God who gave them the idea, or who worked through someone else to give them this idea, and it was essentially all God. And it will happen at an unanticipated or unexpected time frame, but it'll happen surprisingly. But so there won't be no planned date for this. There's no planned date to where your kingdom spouse know, God know, and people are just counting down days and waiting until this particular planned date. No, this can happen anytime, any moment, and you don't know when it'll happen. Now, essentially, your kingdom spouse and God, what I'm discerning is that they've partnered up in a way. It's an unintentional partnership, but it's definitely a partnership, because your kingdom spouse, they know what's going on. God knows what's going on. They know when they might not actually know when they're going to reach out, but when they get the answer in the moment of when they're going to reach out, they know when they're going to reach out, and God knows when they're going to reach out, but you don't know when they're going to reach out. And that's what I'm saying. There's a partnership between you and your kingdom spouse, between your kingdom spouse and God, which will lead up to this reconciliation being unexpected, because essentially unexpected for you, to be exact. So next thing I got was there will be a special kiss shared between you and your kingdom spouse. And I say that, and to elaborate on it, just means pretty much that y'all will share a kiss, but it'll be the kiss won't be a regular kiss. It'll be symbolic and it'll hold emotional significance. So it'll pretty much be like a milestone for y'all, like where it's a significant moment, it's a marker for your connection and different things like that. But there will be a special kiss. Like, and after the kiss will happen, of course, you both will deem it as special. Now, the next thing I wanted to get into is, sorry guys. Okay, so there'll be some prayer points pretty much that I've discerned that these kingdom spouses will need. Number one, pray for your kingdom spouse. Pray for them. Pray for boldness and courage to form on their end, along with what's the word? Pray that basically that there will be a final push on your kingdom spouse's end. Because right now they could be in emotional pain, which they probably are, and your kingdom spouse could be feeling tired spiritually, physically, and emotionally. Hence why they're going to come forth, because again, they're getting cornered in a way spiritually with this. Emotionally, they're getting cornered, and it's getting to a point where they have no choice, where they have to confront the situation, and it's causing them stress. So, or it could be causing them stress. Hence why, again, they're going to, we know stress usually leads to emotional tiredness and different things like that. So that's why it's going to make it where they just throw in the towel, and forfeit and give up and just come back. What was the next one? Your kingdom spouse also could be feeling overwhelmed. So again, that goes into the prayer point of just pray for peace on their end. If that's in God's will, sometimes God doesn't let them have peace because they're rebellion, and for them to get peace, they have to come back. But if God allows a free kingdom spouse to have peace, allow them to have, pray that they have peace. But if not, because I've discerned that there's times where God, that's not in His will right now for them. And I don't mean that in the way of like they need to suffer, but no, they essentially, how do I put this? They need to feel uncomfortable to realize they're in the wrong place right now, and that they need to go back to the right place. That's how I'm just going to put it. But yeah, overall, just pray for a final push on your. Okay, and another thing that I wanted to kind of add on to, another point I wanted to touch on was, so let's first start off by getting into the next point. So I received a dream pretty much. I was in this car essentially, and I was with a family member, and the kingdom spouse had pulled up behind me along with their sibling, their brother, and they got out the car and they started dancing essentially. And the dance that they did was called the Mac. If you look up what the Mac means, the Mac, essentially, to just break it down in simpler terms, it's a technique to woo a woman, or to get a woman's attention, or to snag a woman essentially. And that, along with that, the kingdom spouse came around the car, and they eventually got to my window, and only stayed at my window, and they were doing the dance still. And the sibling that they had, the brother, went around the car, but it was obnoxious with it. They were trying to be obnoxious. They were trying to scare me. They were trying to essentially make me uncomfortable, and different things like that. And I say this dream to say that whoever this is for, pray, take this back to God, but your kingdom spouse will come back, but there might be a counterfeit coming along with them. And what I mean by that is a counterfeit more so that'll be thrown towards you, not a counterfeit that your kingdom spouse will be messing with. No, it's going to be more so a counterfeit that'll be thrown towards you. And it's up to you to choose the right option, and to use discernment, and to operate in Christ, and to stay in His will. And what I was going to say was, when your human spouse comes back, yeah, they're going to love you. They're going to try to get your attention. They're going to try to charm you. And of course, without no ulterior motive. But this counterfeit, whether it's your kingdom spouse's brother, sibling, whether it's a friend that they have, a close friend, it doesn't matter. Essentially, they're going to try to do the exact same techniques that your kingdom spouse is doing, but except there's going to be an ulterior motive. So it's up to you to operate in discernment and to be careful. Your kingdom spouse, they're going to, like I was just saying a while ago, they're going to try to, of course, get your attention. They're going to want your attention. They're going to want to, essentially, be attracted to you, make you attracted to them. They're going to want you to like them back, of course, and all the different things, pretty much, where attraction between two people goes on. They're going to put in the effort this time. If they didn't before, they will put in the effort to get your attention. They will do the right things this time. But again, there's going to be a counterfeit along the side of them doing the exact same thing at the same time, trying to get your attention as well. So it's, again, operate in discernment, stay in the will of God. And it's up to you to pick what you want to do. But you remember, each choice have consequences. And don't complain down the line when 30, 40, you chose the wrong choice. In 30, 40 years, you're reaping the choice that you sowed, pretty much. You're reaping what you sowed. You're getting the consequences or the fruit of the choice. And you knew deep down what the roots of that choice was. You knew deep down what lied beneath that choice and where it was planted from, essentially. So don't get caught by the bait. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Your kingdom spouse is coming back. But there's going to be a counterfeit and different things like that. Another part that I want to get into was that whenever you and your kingdom spouse do get close, whenever y'all do get closer, essentially, there's going to come a point in time where this counterfeit, there's going to be in a way, whether it's a sibling of it's someone from your kingdom spouse's family, it's someone that's really close to them, your kingdom spouse, it's going to come to a point where that counterfeit, they finally cross a boundary, and it's going to make it where your kingdom spouse speaks up. They're going to speak up, and they're going to set a boundary. And it's going to make it where it pushes the counterfeit back, but they're still going to be somewhat floating within y'all's proximity, though. So pray for wisdom, pray for instruction, especially when that time period comes. Pray against the counterfeit. Pray that you operate in the will of God and different things and more. So, yeah, that's it. That's all. Thank you all for listening. If you feel led to sow a seed, like, comment, subscribe, and until next time, see y'all later.